afternoon, everybody. This is Kreider. Coming back up here to give you a deck tech of my Selesnya Eldrazi. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Hopefully everybody's having a good day watching some football if you're in America and you like that kind of stuff, or whatever your particular sports hobby might be. Alright, first off, card should be in pretty much every green deck. Would be a Jolly Offshoot. Great little 0/3 defender. Gain your life every time you drop a land, which is pretty much what this deck likes to do. Next up is Nisa, Vastwood Seer / Sage Animist. Fantastic card advantage engine. Even if you don't get her online, you're at least getting a land. You really can't beat that. And duels for 3 mana. Next up, I've got Natural Connection and Nisa's Pilgrimage. These are basically there to ramp you up, obviously. Get you a certain color, either white or green, depending, for the connection, and Pilgrimage is going to get you 2 or 3 forest out in the deck, which we do run more forest. They're both 3-ofs because I had to find room for one of the creatures. I'll show you later. So next up was From Beyond. Fantastic enchantment. You drop it out, it starts making dudes every turn, little scions. Sacrifice for mana, and you can pay 2 to go searching for Eldrazi. I mean, who wouldn't want to go and find their favorite Eldrazi easy? It's like having an extra Ulamog for every one of these things you got. Next up is everybody's favorite card in the format, the Acid Moss. And I think you would say that Mvoli. I don't know. I probably butchered it. Either which case, nobody really likes to get played on them because it really kind of sucks. But hey, look, Wano's online. That's nice. This is basically here just to ramp you up and to slow them down. And the really neat thing about it is you can go and get your Canopy Vista with it, because it is a forest. Card does not differentiate between a forest or a basic forest, which unfortunately Pilgrimage does, as you can see right there. Alright, next up is Gideon. I just took him out because I wasn't paying attention. There, he's back in. So Gideon's 4 mana. He drops 2/2 white knight ally creature tokens onto the battlefield. He can also become a 5/5 human soldier ally who's indestructible, and he also can create an emblem. Fun thing you can do with him is, if you have him at 4, you can pop him to get an emblem, then use Emiria Shepherd, who is in this deck, drop a plains, pull him right back out, and do it again, and give all you guys +2/+2 permanently. So it's pretty good play. I've only done it a couple times, but it pretty much will end the game for your opponent. Next up we have our 2 mass removal spells, Planner Outburst, which just gets rid of everything, and Arrogance gets rid of everything but 1 of each copy on each side of the field. Artifacts, enchantments, creatures. Does not touch land. I'm sure most of you know this, but you know, this has actually been a very rarely played card in this format. But now it's actually become pretty good, especially since you have the backup of Planner Outburst. Next up you have Angelic Edict. I'm running 3 copies of this as my point removal spell of choice, mainly because it exiles and it can hit enchantments. It's always fun for your opponent to cast Ulamog, and then you just exile it with the Edict. Green Warden and Marasa gets you back your favorite spell, land, enchantment, doesn't matter. It is a 5/4 body, not too bad. Obviously everybody knows the second section of it. When it dies, the death trigger does not work right. You don't want to use it anyway. Just let it go, because that way you can use it with Emiria Shepherd to just keep bringing stuff back. Because this is enters the battlefield ability, whereas your Eldrazi, such as Oblivion Sour, is a cast ability. There's a big difference between those. Warden Wraith Hydra, big 5/5 trampler for 6 mana. Fantastic landfall ability. Permanent counters go on it. Forest gets +2/+2. Anything else gets +1/+1. Really nice thing about it is we're running 12 forest in the deck, because your Canopy Vista is a forest. so that works out pretty good for you. I've actually gotten this guy up to a 14-14 before. He's a beast. Started out, I did not like him, but he's, pun intended, grown on me. Next up is your Oblivion Sower. I keep messing that up, and I'll probably keep on doing it. Either which case, your Oblivion Sower, fantastic stats for its cost. The ability is out of this world, literally. Exile 4 top 4 cards, and then you take anything out of exile that's a land, put it on your side. You cannot beat that. If he was a common, I'd run 4 of them. You just couldn't. You can't get around to beat that. It's just too good. Nisa's Renewal, probably my favorite card out of this Battle for Zendikar. 6 mana, go find 3 lands, gain 7 life. Works really well with landfall abilities such as the Jadi Offshoot, and your Ordinary Hydra can just get nasty after you cast the Renewal. The Shepherd's not quite as good because you may or may not have something to get back with it. However, I mean, you really can't complain about that ability either. So speaking of the Shepherd, we're on to her. Flies, 4/4, not the greatest stats for a 7 mana creature, but its landfall ability brings stuff, non-land permanent cards, back to your hand every time you play a land. As a plains, it goes straight in the battlefield. So, doesn't work out super good with your Eldrazi, Ulamog, or Oblivion Sower because they're cast abilities. However, works amazingly well with your Green Warden and Marassa. And that's pretty much the only thing here I've got besides your Planeswalkers. That works well with them as well, as we were saying, because then you can recast Gideon, or you could recast Nisa, which she'll get you land, and he can actually make creatures. So, very big portion of this deck. If you can't win it quick, she can help you regurgitate, if you will, or recycle the cards that you've already lost due to combat, and the advantage is just unreal. It's really good. Gale's Revenge. Kind of torn on this one. I was thinking about putting in Plated Crusher. Actually, he was in here for a while, but I just needed more ramp to get up to this level to cast him as early as possible. The Revenge is in there because counter decks are getting more prevalent. They really hate seeing this guy, which means I really like seeing him. The haste is a really relevant ability in duels, and the ability that, as I was saying, cannot be countered. Only one card in here can actually slow him down. I believe that is Brutal Explosion, because it doesn't actually counter, it just puts it back in your hand. Nobody's actually done this to me yet. Love to get it on camera once. But that hold cannot be countered. Right there is why I'm running him over Plated Crusher. For pretty much everything else, though, the Crusher's got him beat, other than haste. And finally, Ulamog, who is probably the single best creature right now in the game. He just does so much. It is really almost impossible kill for almost every color, other than casting your own Ulamog right after him, because Ulamog can't kill another Ulamog that's on the field. Past that, we got 5 Plains, 10 Forest, 2 Canopy Vistas, 2 Sun Petal Grove, 2 Foundry of the Councils, and then an Evolving Wilds. 4 of those to help you thin out some land and have some fun with landfall. The Foundry of the Consoles basically is there for a late game pair of 1/1. The 1/1s that fly that maybe you can push out the last couple points of damage if you need to. Really trying these out. I don't think they're necessary, but somebody had said something to me earlier about putting them in, and I'm not really losing anything by putting in 2 of the brown lands. So the other option here is putting in the never remember names, so I have to go look it up real quick. Putting in a pair of Rogue's Passage, which is fantastic for the majority of the creatures in here. So that may not be a bad thing, because I only have a couple of creatures with trample, Everything else is going to have to work its way through. Shepherd flies, obviously, and Little Mog really doesn't care if it gets through. It's there to mill somebody out. So I might give that a shot later. Right now, we're going to try the Foundry, see how that plays out for us. If nothing else, it gets you a pair of blockers, which might save you long enough to win the game. So there you go. That is my Selesnya Eldrazi deck. I'll be playing that later today, and I'll post that video up. Do a couple videos on it, and we'll move on probably to Gruul monsters in the Battle for Zendikar era. So, alright guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.